All right. I think I have everything working.
Cross your fingers.
It's on my fingers are crossed. Everyone, let me know if you could hear us, see us. Everything's good because I am not a professional at this, and I have no idea what I'm doing. It's terrible. We're streaming very jankily over to Instagram as well. So everyone that's over there watching, I apologize profusely on how low budget everything looks. I'm sorry.
It's a good intro.
Yeah. Just I'm just going to be brutally honest about everything, and so you could just always expect me to be honest because I'm bad at lying.
It's good.
Hey, Arosa Hybrid Hill. I don't know how to say your name, so I'm not going to try. I'm sorry. Hopper, what up, bro?
What's going on? Hopper's here. What up?
Yes, sir. It's my man. It's my man Hopper. I love him. All right. I think we're good. Instagram is good. Yeah, everyone can hear us. All right, cool. So welcome everybody to my very loosely formatted Saturday lives that I've been doing for like a little over a year now. I am joined today by the lovely, amazing, effervescent Kitty Rollo, who is below me.
Good morning.
Yay! Beautiful as always, and I am also joined by someone you may notice. He's like a little bit of a known face in the Wheel of Time community, right? Maybe one or two people.
Sure.
But Innkeeper Hatch.
Thank you for having me.
Oh my God! He's so beautiful.
I love this. I'm gonna try this next time. Like do sound effects like
just play. You need to have like a soundboard, like the old school radio hosts.
But just like make the sounds as we're doing it.
Oh yeah, just do it. Yeah, that's me, because if I could download the sounds and press a button and play it. Like these things are capable of that, but I don't know how to do that.
Saturday. It's good times.
Yes, it is. And it's I want to just give a special thanks. Hey Jerry. Special thanks out to Kitty because it is extra early for her.
I work nights and weekends.
Yeah, you would never know because she just a glowing ray of dark sunshine over there.
Oh yeah, this is all natural. I woke up like this.
Just roll right out of bed. Well, thanks for coming to hang out with us. So to jump right into things,
let's do it.
You recently were out visiting at Brandon's. Is that it? So you were in the studio that he often is streaming and stuff from. Is that in his home? Is that in the bunker? Is that in the warehouse? Like
that's a secret.
It's a secret location.
No, it's just an office location. So
okay,
but yeah, they have a stream. Their live setup studio over there. It's fun.
He's always signing those insert pages that he's got for all his books.
Yep, makes efficient use of his time, which is much more efficient use of his time than I ever do. So
that's fair. I mean, I think he. Ebony, hey Ebony.
Yeah. Oh, Ebony's here. Cool.
Yay. May she? I'm sorry. Long may she reign. May she live forever. She is the empress. Well, I mean, he's more efficient than everybody on the planet. So.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, that's a good point.
He's like a freaking robot. He writes books to take breaks from writing books.
Yeah, that was the first thing I learned working with him, and it's crazy. This whole Kickstarter thing is insane.
Oh my God, yeah. I mean, I only barely glean some of his personal scheduling when I was doing JordanCon stuff, working with Emily and stuff, because Emily is usually the one that takes care of his his schedule when he does appearances at least. And she's like, if I don't schedule sleep for him.
Yeah.
But speaking of that, so like you said, you're actually working with Dragonsteel now. So how has that been going?
It's weird. I tell this to everybody that gets hired on, which is that you have no idea what's going on inside Dragonsteel until you get there, kind of thing. As a fan, I always joke, it's we're not sitting around reading books with Brandon all day. I don't know if, or we're not all his beta readers and we just kind of pass him in the hall and hey, I have an idea. You know what I mean? there's a lot of, just like in any business, right? A lot of
Yeah.
work going on, and the amount of additions you can imagine, just like you think internationally, right? Like the amount of just work with publishers and, you know, getting new books out and an audiobook and all the different formats. There's just, I wouldn't have ever thought about it from the outside. It's just like, yeah, he writes books and they go out into the world. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
And seeing it from the inside is just, it's pretty wild.
Yeah, he's published. So he's got his books being published through Tor. He's publishing his own books, and then he's doing the audiobooks. He's doing his own audiobooks. He's doing audiobooks through Tor, comic books, art, like so much stuff, just on and on and on and on, and all of it's happening at the same time. It's
wild. It's wild. It is not. Again, I don't think I haven't read much since I got there, if that makes sense.
That's funny. I actually, recently, for those who know Brandon's Cosmere, oh, hey, how's it going?
Chance is here. Nice.
Yeah. The, Legion. So the book where, the main character, you know, has the, audio and visual hallucinations that give him powers and stuff like that. He imagines someone to teach him, was it Pakistani? Yeah, Legion. There it is. Nice.
What are the odds?
Look at that.
Sorry, I wasn't even looking. Yeah, there you go.
Kitty's ready. Yeah,
Nice. We didn't even prepare that. I think she comes out, like he's on a plane and she comes out to teach him Pakistani, I think it is. Dana Lou or somebody will correct me in chat for that. But it's actually Kalyani Polori, who is a friend of ours, and I went to visit her recently in Orlando, and who joined us was Kara and Isaac Stewart. Now, Isaac does maps for Brandon, and I bring that story because he said something almost exactly like you just said, which was, so you said, you know, like, I imagined we'd just be reading books for Brandon all day. And Isaac was like, yeah, when I first started, I just imagined I'd be in Brandon's basement drawing maps all day. And that is not what's happening.
Yeah. Karen and Isaac are awesome.
They're fantastic people. So for those who don't know, Kara Stewart is like I don't know what her official title is, but she's like the captain of Dragonsteel. She's manning the helm.
She's definitely she's one of the vice presidents of Dragonsteel over all merchandise and event stuff. So, and
she's fantastic at it. I mean, like, look at everything that's happened. I mean, not a small part of that Kickstarter that broke Kickstarter and the publishing world, pretty much.
Yeah, again, that was like that happened a couple weeks after I started, and it was
oh god,
it was wild. It's a wild way to begin. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I can only freaking imagine. So back to your actual trip there now. The thing that the big thing that you've been talking about this whole time is this secret. You know, you didn't know it. Well, all right. You weren't saying personally that you knew what it was or stuff, but this big secret that's been going on is Brandon's been saying since the release of the last book, 10 years, I'll do the thing, 10 years, I'll do the thing. And honestly, I kind of forgot about it until
right.
You brought this up, but I'm going to, for everyone that is watching, and again, this is going to be a little janky. I'm sorry, guys, because
spoiler warning. Is this what
spoil? Yeah, this is a big spoiler warning for the end of the Wheel of Time. Because I need to play like the video through Instagram, like for our Instagram watchers, and the people who are watching on StreamYard and our other platforms. So it's going to look a little weird for you guys over on Instagram. Just pay attention to the video that's in the middle of the screen, and I'll mute the other sounds for you guys. Okay, so without further ado, here is the big reveal that we had over, what was it, like 2 weeks ago? 3 weeks ago?
It feels like, yeah.
5 minutes ago. Simultaneously 5 minutes and 2 years ago.
Well, yeah.
Pretty much. All right.
Good guys win. That's also terrible for her because they're going to hunt down the remaining Forsaken and they're going to take them out, right? You don't leave Forsaken around. And if the good guys win, that means, they're stronger than the Dark One. There's no hope for you. So I'm like, well, this is, in my opinion, the best schemer or at least my favorite schemer. They're all pretty good schemers.
The best.
But the best schemer of them all, what is her solution? And I realized before I sat down to write the book, what she needs is everyone to think she's dead, but the good guys to win. If all the other Forsaken get taken down and she's the only one and no one knows she's alive, the world is her oyster. She is suddenly one of the most powerful, if not the most powerful being alive. Nobody knows it. She can go into the shadows and do her thing. And so she kicks off. Really, we kicked some of this stuff off in the previous book, but it really, because these were all being written together as one. I realized what we want, what Lanfear wants, is this, and how would she go about doing that? And so, the secret is
Lanfear alive?
Is Lanfear alive? And the answer was yes, Lanfear's alive.
The answer is yes.
So that was slightly edited, because you guys go into a little bit of talking about that, but I figured we could do that here. Yeah. So Kitty, when you saw that, or when you found out about Lanfear being alive there, what did you think about that?
I don't want to be like, of course, yes, I knew. But I knew there is no way, because she's not pure evil. She's pure herself.
That's a good way to put it.
And yes, of course, I was just like, no, there's no way she could be dead. I didn't care. Her and Bella, those are my two girls. And I got what I wanted. So best series ever.
And so you guys kind of talked about you beta read for the last, was it
last two books?
The last two books, right?
Yep.
And you were pretty much, Brandon kind of says, one of the only people, or the only person out of the beta readers at least, that caught onto the whoops, I forgot to unmute the audio on Instagram. My wife /helper. Sorry guys, on Instagram, I forgot to unmute you guys when I was playing the video. Anyway, so you were a beta reader for the last book, and Brandon had said that you were one of the only people who picked up on the fact that Lanfear seemed to be kind of playing up this thing with Perrin. So why don't you tell us what your note was to Brandon?
So yeah, there's a beta reader document that we would leave comments in basically as we're going through, and they had to do with continuity, timeline stuff, just plot related questions or comments. I can't remember all the different categories, and one of the things I learned in the previous book was that Brandon really wanted us to put all of our comments there, but we only had, I feel like it was only 2 weeks or something. I don't think it was that much time that we had to kind of get him any comments. And it wasn't like when you put a comment in that Brandon replies to you or something. There's not a back and forth here. It's literally just throw stuff at the wall and basically wait till the book comes out. And then when the book comes out, read it again and go, did anything change? Right. So you didn't know. And so in this case, there's this aspect, like Brandon said, he kind of put in details. This is what Brandon wanted to be the truth, right? This is what Brandon wanted to happen. And so he started seeding that in Towers of Midnight a bit. It has a nice callback. The Lanfear Perrin thing has a nice callback to book 3, I think. Saw someone post a quote, and it was really, really good in connection that you could kind of loop back to this moment. But I didn't say anything in Towers of Midnight because it was okay, what is Lanfear going to do here? What's the plan, right?
Yeah.
What are the many kind of plans she might have? But it was in the last book where they're basically in Teleronriad, and she's having Perrin help her do something that she can clearly do herself in Teleronriad. She doesn't need Perrin to help her. And it feels like she's kind of delaying, kind of building something up. And then the countdown. And I know there was something about the countdown where I just read it and I was like, why would she ever give him time here? And then why would she do it on 1, 2, 3? And why did she care? She doesn't need him for this at all. So what is really the goal? I don't know. When I was reading it, I was just it doesn't make any sense unless she was trying to fool Perrin into thinking that he has control, that he is the one that breaks free from her. And there's a little bit, honestly, like I love Lanfear as a character.
Oh, yeah. Well,
My favorite, if there's like Verin I love too, but Lanfear is basically, I would say, the top of kind of my favorite characters in the book. So was there some of wishful thinking? Probably, right? I'm probably reading it going like, this is a great theory and I want this to be true. You know what I mean? Like in my head, I was like, this would, but then I said, if this is the truth, this is like too blatant. Like this is my comment to Brandon was like, if you're trying to do this, don't write it like this, because this is just obvious. Like that's what in my head it was like. This whole 3, 2, 1 thing was just kind of really. It felt really. What's the word? Like
forced, or
yeah, just kind of like,
or like she was like
so
playing it up, like
yeah, kind of like hammed it up a little bit, like 3. You know, I don't just. And I always didn't. It never sat with me, and so I remember writing like, you should really kind of hide this, if you will. You should make it more subtle, because it feels very obvious that you're doing something here. Does that make sense? I think I don't remember the exact comment I made. Like I don't have that comment where it's like, but I know it was about the idea that this felt, if this is what you're doing, this feels really obvious and you should change it because it's too obvious. And he didn't change that I recall. Again, I'd have to have that. I don't know if I even have the beta copy any longer. But
because you had to like sign the NDA to get it.
Yeah,
and, like you had your own special version. And...
honestly, it might be in like I'm sure I like backed up a computer 7 years ago or something, and so it's probably in some backup that I have in some storage device. But I don't know if it was, but I think it's exactly like it was in the beta document. I don't think I think when I was talking to him, he said like, yeah, I didn't change that scene at all. So, I don't know if he was just like, oh, no one else is mentioning this. No one else said. I don't remember what other beta readers said about the idea. But
yeah, I think he said during your interview that you were the only one, and then he kind of elaborated there where it was like, you know, a lot of times beta readers, because they don't have all the information, they won't pick up on the foreshadowing or da-da-da-da. But he said, yeah, you were the only one who thought that, who thought it was obvious. But that's only because you're so in tune with the characters of Lanfear and Perrin and stuff like that.
I think a lot of stuff is obvious that I argued for decades that other people felt was like loony. Does that make sense? Like, there's stuff having to do with Verin in book 2 that I think was really obvious.
Me too. Let me ask you if it's. I'm going to ask you if it's the same thing that I thought. I've been saying this for years. Ever since I read the second book, I used to argue with my friends. My best friend's older brother is the one that got me to read these books, and I was arguing with him. So. Light spoilers, I guess, for book 2. And actually, though, Verin's storyline.
Yeah. Are we going all Verin? Should we like warn people like?
I mean, it's going to end up. Yeah, so it's going to be Verin's full story.
Spoilers, everybody.
Yeah, full book spoilers. I got Kitty's little. Hold on, I have her.
Weird to see it.
Yeah, I have her miniature up on the top right, but hold on, I gotta play the full one because it's my favorite.
Spoiler alert.
I was clipping some stuff for her for TikTok, and I just kept saving videos of her because they're fantastic.
The more you know.
I have a bunch of those. But there's a scene in the second book when Verin first shows up to the Hunt for the Horn group.
Yep. And
she tells them Moiraine sent her.
Yep.
And then later in that book, Maureen's like, I didn't send no Verin over there.
Right.
So I was like, Verin motherfucking lied. She lied. She is Black Aja. And my friend's older brother was arguing with me for 15, I don't even know, 17 years.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a kitty. Hello, kitty.
It was the other side of that it's the other piece of that where I think it's Egwene has a dream. And in her dream, I think she notices that someone's bending over, like by where Rand and Loyal are, like sleeping next to a stone or something. And she sees someone in white, kind of bending over, and then they disappear, I think. And then she sees Balzamon's eyes, and she leaves the dream. Something like that happens. And then Verin showing up. If you tie that to Verin showing up, and they're like, "Hey, do you want us to show you where they disappeared?" And she's like, "No, I'm good." And you're like. why wouldn't Verin? Like, yeah, I saw that. We're good. Oh yeah, I noticed that or something. Like
Yeah.
Verin's just like nonchalant about like, here's the most curious brown Aja, right? Like a member of the brown Aja, and she's like, just before that they had been back in Faldara, and she'd be like, yeah, I've been watching this and tracking all these things, and and I just interpreted this language down here. And then she arrives with like a disappearance of these people, and she's like, I'm good, let's just keep going.
No, I'm good.
And I always found that one, and then the fact that she handed over Terangrial to a novice. That's a dream Terangrial where Lanfear meets Egwene in the dream. So it's one of those where, like, yeah, if you're just like, no, I'm not gonna. Like, I was always looking for clues about Lanfear. That's just so again. But I've seen a lot of people say this. They kind of chalked it up to Brandon's maybe just awkwardness with a character and writing a character.
Okay.
And so they felt it was weird, but maybe it's just a weirdness of how Brandon interpreted Lanfear, if you will.
Yeah.
So I know a lot of people said that.
That's fair. The one of the things that Brandon said specifically during your thing is something that he does a lot in his works. I feel like that he does amazingly. Like I love the way he kind of just turns things on its head. But what was it? It was and you kind of alluded to it too. But he said Perrin is just confident enough to believe that he's right in the things that he assumes in the world of dreams. And it's like he knows enough just to be dangerous to himself. And not only is the character like that, though, but I think something that Brandon does with all of his books in the Cosmere, not in the Cosmere, everything, is that he does that to the audience too. Like he tells the audience just enough about the magic system, just enough about the characters to make us think we understand it. And then he does something to turn it on its head. And then, after like a couple of seconds, you're like, oh, wow, yeah, it totally could work like that. Like when, the first time Vin in light spoilers for Mistborn, the first time Vin is traveling long distances with the metal, where she's like using the copper like a wheel to like push and pull simultaneously to fly across like long landscapes. Like, oh yeah, that totally works. Why like she's a genius? Why don't other people do this? Yeah. I love how he does that stuff. One of the other things that he said that was really cool, that I was always very confident that he was going to do a good job. Well, I mean, after we met him at Jordan Con 1, I was very confident that he was going to do a good job with the Wheel of Time. But I love when he says stuff like this. So one quote that I pulled was, I made the choices that I made very deliberately to try to preserve the things I thought Robert Jordan wanted to be left a mystery. And I really love that. I love that he put that much care and thought into it. Like just having met him the first time at JordanCon, I knew he was going to do that. But it's stuff like that he said over the years that just reaffirmed that feeling that I had in him.
Yeah, sure. One of the ones I think he mentioned was that Harriet wanted him to take chances. Like, don't just regurgitate back. You have a whole list of facts and information, but basically, like, tell the story. Like, you're not here just to be basically a ghostwriter, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's really difficult. When the books came out, I remember, not liking certain choices and liking others. And I remember a lot of people were like, this is terrible. Like, how do you're not Robert Jordan, just do what Robert Jordan would do, kind of thing. And stop, what did you add here? He would, I think he said before, like, people would ask him, like, you clearly wrote this part, and it's something that maybe Robert Jordan included, Robert Jordan, this is definitely Robert Jordan, and something he included or something like that. So
he has said that exact thing. Yeah.
But there's that he had a huge difficult job, right? He said Perrin's storyline was basically non-existent or something like that.
Yeah. It was, I think, Perrin and Tam, he said.
Yeah. Like, I think people think there was more material than there really was. Like, he had to fill in a lot of from this part to this part, and love it or hate it, those choices that he made. I think it's a better story because he did feel like he could take chances as an author and not just try to, like, be safe, if you will. So yeah, I would not want the job. A lot of people like afterwards was like, oh man, I wish I had had that job. I'm like, no.
No, they don't. They are dirty liars.
Yeah, absolutely. I would never want that responsibility.
The amount of characters alone in this series.
Yeah. It would be insane. It's no, thank you.
The amount
You
of
need a
prep
robot
work
to
that he had
finish
to
it.
do. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he was a fan before, but like that's not the same as literally being the authoritative word on it and like putting out the canon. So like he had to just the prep work of reading.
Yeah.
I mean, probably 40% of the notes because there's so many notes.
Yeah.
One of the
so easy to fix things from the outside, but
Oh,
like,
yeah.
like you said, like for Dragonsteel, you're like, oh, okay, yeah, I can do this, and you're perfectly capable, and you go and you're like, holy shit, I still can. But behind the scenes for anything, any job, I cannot imagine taking over a book series,
No,
a
especially
beloved
when it's
book
popular.
series.
Right.
So in that clip, when Brandon was like, she's the best schemer, or maybe one of the best, you're like, nah, she's the best. Like instantly was like, nah, just tell it like it is, Brandon. She's the best.
Yeah. Why waffle there? Just say
I
it.
pulled a couple of fun little quotes, actually fun little things from you. So one of the things that you were incredibly proud of was your ability to keep the secret, but also your trolling of everybody for 10 freaking years.
Yeah. There were moments where I got to have a little bit of fun with that.
Yeah. So now, again, for people over on Instagram, just pay attention to the bottom of the screen. I'm going to cover my face up for everybody, and I'm going to share some pictures because I pulled a couple of fun little pictures of you from these clips because they're just hilarious. So you have this like little smirk. No, that's not it. There it is.
It's a good one. Though.
There it is. This little smirk. This was about a second before he says Lanfear's alive. Like that's like look at the face. Look at it.
I love
Look
it.
at it.
Love it.
And then
That's a good
this next one is like right after you said I maybe trolled my friends for a decade. This is like just like 1 second afterwards. Just the glee on your face is so palpable.
Oh
So,
yeah.
I went ahead and made you a little GIF. Or a
You need
GIF.
that forever and always.
That is really good. I love it. Troll
Yeah,
Master.
yeah. And I'm gonna definitely have some badge ribbons for you at JordanCon and at WatCon because you deserve that, sir. Just the level of years that were there is fantastic.
Well, it's like funny because Brandon and I did not. Again, this is that when we told the story, I explained that he invited me down to like a Magic the Gathering with Taylor. He was always a really big fan of Little Hatch, as he called him at the time, and he loved that Taylor was like that he had come to IHOP there, and they'd come down and play Magic. I think one of the games early on when Taylor was younger actually beat Brandon in a game. And got like a signed card from him.
Ooh.
But that's the only time I I saw Brandon at this we didn't come down that often to see it, and I think we had only moved probably about an hour, a little more than an hour away from him, like a year or two before that. Well, maybe a couple more years.
They've dubbed Taylor.
Yeah,
That's perfect.
and we never really talked much about this, like other than like a couple years afterwards. We're like, hey, we should totally do a live stream because I didn't know. I don't think I'm trying to remember back when Brandon, like, it's hard to remember the details, right? Like,
yeah,
I don't think he was like, but in 10 years at the time, right? Like when I asked him, I don't know that I knew that part. I can't remember, or if it just came out later where he told fans after, like, basically, I think he thought more fans would have the theory.
Yeah. And then
so
he kind of realized that
a year, 2, 3 years later,
nobody...
on Reddit, he'd say something like, well, no one's really asked me about this one question kind of thing.
Yeah.
And, and I can't remember when he got permission to tell this 10 years later, or the 10-year anniversary, but he got the permission. And then when I heard that he was going to do that, I think I remember saying I remember kind of as thing, and this maybe he said a 10-year thing late
He
enough.
said it
where
at Jordan
really-
Con. I don't remember the first time he said it, but I remember
Yeah,
him
it's
saying
hard to
it at
remember
Jordan
like
Con.
when he said those things. So I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, we should do and I think I think it was the last time he was at Jordan Con. He's like, and I'm gonna do and I should do a live stream with Matt or something like that.
Yeah.
And I wasn't even at that panel, and I was like, oh, well, yeah, let's do it. That's definitely
I guess that's what we're doing.
Yeah. And I didn't realize he would tell people things that I didn't know about this, right? And so that was one of the things I revealed on his live stream was he told people at Jordan Con, yeah, like Matt knows. And like all this time I had been basing this premise on that no one would ever know that I knew until it was revealed. And then all of a sudden, like Taylor's telling me like, yeah, he just told him that you know. And I'm thinking like, I've been trolling people and I need to kind of pull that back a lot. Like I need to not, I went back and used the old, like the stuff I was doing with the parody song I sing. I used the old stanza, like I wasn't using the one that had the stuff about Lanfear anymore. And Taylor's like, that's probably a good idea to not keep doing that, And I was like, oh yeah. So it's funny that there was not a lot of collaboration on this, and so I just kind of shut up when I heard Brandon was kind of being a little bit more open about that I knew. So
I have another clip here for our friends. I didn't prepare it for Instagram, so I'm sorry, Instagram, but this is the part.
Some of my friends who now realize that maybe I was trolling them a little bit for a decade, but it was honestly, I was just so excited.
Yeah. Honestly, I was just so excited. Of course you were.
Yeah, I mean, there's a character that I really liked a lot, and glad that the character was alive. There is a lot of people have, I shouldn't say a lot, but a handful of people have come and written me and said, I now understand why you like this character, and I didn't like this character that much with the old ending of what I understood. And if
but
I
you
had
loved
known
her before
this,
you knew this stuff.
Oh yeah, I know. But they were saying like now knowing this, I like this character more, and I can see why you were a little bit more like, why is this character so great? Now I always thought the character was great regardless of what happened at the end of a memory of Light. I don't know if
you know this, but Kitty has an in with Lanfear, and she sometimes guest stars on her TikTok. So you should you should put together an interview for you guys.
Oh, so I will be doing like a live a week of Lanfear live streams once we know they must be right casting for Lanfear for season 2.
They gotta be or already have her, right?
If Lanfear and Verin aren't in season 2, then I don't know, I probably would stop watching. I don't know, like that would just be ridiculous. Like how could you do it? But like
perfect segue.
Once they announce assuming they announce this character in time, we'll do a week of live streams about Lanfear. So Kitty, you'll have to come on and as part of that.
Be delighted. I'll see if she's got some availability.
Excellent. Yeah. Sorry, you have to invite Lanfear on.
Definitely.
She's a busy girl, but she can find some time.
Who knows what she's up to now? She's out there, fiddling around with people and then putting
sugar in their gas tanks. I mean, whatever. It's fine.
Yeah.
Oh, God, that adds such another layer to that. Now that's going to be so much fun.
Yeah, it's a fun thing. To me, it was just fun. I did not anticipate was that this would really affect fans of Perrin. Like that, I wasn't there in that mindset, right? There's this like secret. Finally, Brandon's revealing it. It's fun to talk about it. Yeah. And then I think the whole evening after the reveal, I was like seeing comments about like, oh man, Brandon did Perrin wrong and and I was like, oh, that makes sense. Like I could totally understand not liking this if you're a huge fan of Perrin.
I'm a huge fan of Perrin, and she got one over him.
Yeah,
I think it's genius. I think that's great. Like it's a genius bit of writing. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's one of those where I don't think it diminishes Perrin, but I'm not.
It shows his limits.
Perrin fan, right?
It shows his limitations. He's he's a wolf brother, and yes, he's a Tavarin, but he's not a channeler.
And this is his one life. Like Lanfear's been alive for how long?
Yeah. He's like what, 24,
he's just a human.
25 at this point.
Yeah. He only started his Rocky training in Teleron like in the last couple months, right? When did he really start training, if you will, in Teleron? Was like in Towers of Midnight or something. So the idea you'd have to really not that Jordan didn't have those moments where it was like, so Rand keeps beating Ashamael, like okay, I guess we can accept that. But
Thank you, Dana Lou. Dana Lou, right on top of it.
But Perrin being able to be tricked seems like well within his character.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Not because he's like gullible in that sense. It's because
No.
he does trust. He trusts his impressions. He has that kind of wolf sense, and he's able to kind of read. He trusts how well he's reading people, and he leans kind of into his own abilities in that way.
Yeah.
But the idea that Lanfear can trick someone, even Perrin, it doesn't seem like far-fetched to me.
No,
So.
she is the greatest schemer. I mean, like, she's the best. You were not incorrect in correcting Brandon there. She is the best.
Yeah, he definitely set her up that way, right? Like in the end, if she had died, I still wouldn't feel any different about Lanfear. Like it was like, regardless if she lives and dies, I think she's a great character and a great schemer. I just thought it was weird to do that 3-2-1 thing. Like if you're gonna kill her, like don't make her that dumb. Like she, admittedly, she's had moments where you're like, that was stupid. But there's some growth there. I mean, I think the conversation, if you look at the conversation between her and Rand near the end, and you look at what she went through as Sindane, those are clearly, you can clearly see the impact and the changes of where things have gone since she kind of got out of the prison, if you will. I just am glad it's out there, honestly. Like I don't have to hold the secret. We can talk about it now. We can theorize about all the remaining things we don't know about this whole situation. But
you can bask in your trolley glory under your bridge.
Exactly.
One of the things that you said about why you like Lanfear is the similar reason to why I also like Lanfear and Ishmael as characters, is because they both know what the Dark One winning is going to look like. And Ishmael wants that because he wants to end time. So again, slight spoilers for, I guess, the metaphysics of the Wheel of Time. The Dark One breaking the wheel and ending time is kind of what the Dark One wants, right? And Ishmael knows that, and he wants that to happen. Lanfear knows that, and she does not want that to happen.
Yeah, I mean, if it would get her power over the Dark One to break the wheel, then she would want that, right? Like,
yeah,
it just depends. Like, how can she acquire more power over everyone else, right? Yeah. And so, in this case, like I think you can go back and watch or read the book, and you can see her. It almost feels like she's she's indecisive of how she wants to use Perrin at the end. Like maybe she does really want to kill them and hope the Dark One, freeing the Dark One will help. Although clearly she's like, no, this was my last chance, and I'm gonna go with I'm gonna take my chances with the Dark One being sealed back away. Yeah. And no one knowing that I'm alive. And people have said this, like, well, that's a dumb plan because basically very few people knew she was still alive. Yeah. But the most important person that would have thought she was still alive would have been, in my mind, Rand. Yeah. So if Rand's gonna make it, that you would want some plausible deniability that you're still alive. Because I don't think I wonder, like, I can't remember what Brandon said. If Rand knew that Lanfear was still out, would he be searching for her?
He did, actually. I was gonna bring that up. Sorry, they're both basking in rays of sunlight right now, and I have my windows, my shades closed, Hopper. But I'll just stare at that cat butt and be happy.
This is my life. This is my child.
My one of my black cats does that. He just flops himself over there, and he weighs like 14 pounds. It's fantastic.
Oh yeah, I just spank a cat every live.
He did say, so like I watched the whole thing earlier this morning. So he did say that Rand was aware, but he wouldn't dive into the events because like he's done, he's out of it. So like, he like. I would imagine that if she tried to like refree the Dark One, he would probably do something, but that's not something she's going to do. If she's just going to like, she's gonna die eventually, no matter what kind of crazy shit she does. Like she can't live forever now. The Dark One isn't present anymore. So like no matter how horrible a thing that she does, she's eventually gonna die, and it doesn't really matter.
She doesn't have competition anymore either.
Yeah.
She's the
That's true.
counterbalance.
Yeah, the only one that's alive is the only other one that's alive is what, Mogideon?
No, Mogideon, isn't Masana still alive?
Masana and Mogideon.
Isn't, I thought Grendel was still alive too. Am I
Grendel, who I always confuse them.
Wait.
Someone
Grendel,
took Dana Lu will remind us. Someone got taken into the Waste. Someone got taken to Shanshan.
So you
And
got
confused
Mogideon.
those
I
two.
thought Mogideon has been collared, I believe.
Yeah, Mogideon's in the is
with
a
the
dominant.
Shanshan, right?
But that's still not like that's not a competition. I guess there is
No.
a chance in the future.
There's a
she
chance
could
that
get
she,
free,
yeah,
but
there's a chance Mogideon gets free.
Hasalam and Masana. And
Yeah,
Grendel
so
was compelled.
So yeah,
Yes,
you have Grendel
they're
who's
there,
like
but
self-compelled, whatever that is. So
Yeah.
potentially people that are Grendel fans believe that she can eventually break that potentially.
maybe.
If she's
and then
still alive.
and then Masana is technically, but kind of like her wasn't it like her mind is broken? Yeah, there we
Yeah.
go.
Something like that. Yeah, she's
so-
she's like insane or like
But,
you know.
but Lanfear does still have the mind trap, and so I
Mhm.
have to apologize to everyone. Like the build up and excitement of getting through these 10 years, I totally did not go like, oh, what are the 7 questions about Lanfear and her mind trap that I should have asked, right? So I apologize that I didn't get to ask Brandon. I didn't ask Brandon in that moment about the mind trap and like what his plans were for that. Because obviously the mind trap, as far as we know, I think Mogideon is the last to see it, and Moradin still has it. I think it's like the prologue from Memory of Light. I
wonder-
think Mogideon sees a mind trap there, and then there's moments near the end where Lanfear's with Perrin. I think Lanfear's like, "Hold on, I'll be right back," kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Like almost like she's being called or checking on it, or
Yeah.
worried if Moradin is aware of things that she's doing. So, but there is a confidence that she gets as the book ends, where she's not worried and she starts changing how she looks, and she becomes more confident to the point where they go right into the boar or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Like they actually go towards them. So it feels like she became more confident. So I'm kind of curious what your theories are. Like, did she become confident because she found her mind trap somewhere and now she has it? Does she become more confident because Moradin is obviously entangled in this basically time warp, if you will, and busy, and
Not the time warp again.
and do you think that she does get her mind trap back from him somehow afterwards, because Rand ends up, and this feels weird because we're like spoiling the entire end of the book, but like what is your theory about that mind trap? Like is it still in Moradin's possession and therefore Rand's possession at the end?
Do you want to go first, Kitty?
I mean, with her confidence, it seems like it has either been neutralized or found, or because she's not immortal anymore. Does it matter as much, depending on if she knows where it is?
Yeah.
Only because I think that person could, like, what happens if you destroy the mind trap? You kill that person, or do they just become like I can't remember if it's like kills them or if they become like a
soulless,
like a
yeah, like a
zombie-ish.
soulless, like
Yeah,
I can't remember what the outcome is. The only thing I think is to me, whoever has it, wherever it's at, that's her first goal, right?
Yeah.
It's get out of here and get it. So my theory is that she somehow acquired it.
She got it. Yeah.
She acquired it either right before this moment happens, like early before that, or right after, right? Like on the kind of that whole like Rand walking out of the cave moment, I could absolutely see her taking advantage of him not being basically cognizant of what's happening, and taking the mind trap there if Moradin still possessed it in that moment. That's my theory, at least.
I agree. Like that is a totally plausible one too. Like I'm with that one. The only other two questions that I would have that make me think that it might be inert, like it might still be a physical item, but I think it might be inert,
Or obsolete.
because like essentially you needed this connection to the Dark One to create a mind trap. Like they make it in the boar in the presence of the Dark One, and now the Dark One is completely dissected from the wheel again. So
I like that's a good one. Or I like this one, like in chat. I don't know if you want to post that comment,
Oh, yeah.
but it's
Which
like
one?
It's Narafin. It's still in the boar, and the dark one has it.
Oh yeah, it's still in the boar and the dark one has it. Okay.
I accept that. That's a like somehow it basically it's left. It's outside of time, but there's not a connection to it any longer, so it doesn't affect.
So to build on that though, does that mean the next time the Dark One's prison gets opened, a piece of Lanfear's soul is going to come out, and like we're going to have new Lanfear in 8,000 years?
I don't know. That option does force us to ask a lot of metaphysical kind of fun questions that would be a unique probably twist to a turning. So I like simplifying a little bit, but that one's fun.
Yeah. The only other thing that made me think of it is like the other reason that I think it could be inert would be because sorry, my Fitbit is going on. There we go. Get up and walk around. Is that Moradin is no longer Moradin. So it was not only is it connected to Lanfear's soul via the Dark One, and that is severed, but it was connected to Moradin's soul, which is no longer present anymore.
His soul has returned. Yeah. So this is going to be one of the live streams during the week of Lanfear is definitely going to have to be like mind trap theories, like deep dives into like how it works, what would happen if the person that's holding it, dies, what happens if it gets trapped behind.
It's not even just dies though. Like his soul was dissected from his body and kind of merged with Rand's, and like it's so so convoluted that
I think that's a fun kind of deep dive kind of discussion to have, because like where did it go and
where did it come from? Where did it go? Sorry.
Yeah, Brandon, and this is the reason why I think that it's Shansani asked, did Moghedien get her mind trap back? And yes, Moghedien had her mind trap.
She did.
So I guess Brandon seemed to suggest, he didn't give us those answers, right? He didn't say that, but he seemed to suggest that she was free, right? So like, it didn't seem like he was like, but she's the most powerful person, still subject to the mind trap that Rand now has and controls her, whatever. He was more like, no, she's free. And as long as she wants to kind of go get power, and that's a huge thing. So in his mind, I think his plan seems to have been that she was free. So I feel like the best theories are going to be the ones of like, how did she acquire it, or how is it no longer, like you said, maybe it's inert, maybe it's outside of time, so it doesn't affect her right now, and no one can, and it can't be controlled, or maybe she has it and she's hidden it somewhere. But I think his suggestions is most well understood that it's not in play in a way that causes her danger immediately.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's fair. So to segue into the show, you mentioned it before, the Lanfear, possible Lanfear casting. So do you not think that when we got the clips of season 2, one of them was of Ishmael, we now know as Ishmael. So this is it's a spoiler for season 1 for the Wheel of Time show. So if you don't want to get spoiled for the season 1 of the Wheel of Time show, you can mute us now. I'll throw a little spoiler tag on the top right while we talk about that. Just for Kitty's sake. We find out that the Balzaman, just like in the first book, is actually Ishmael. And I honestly, I didn't really like the way they did that in the trailer. Like they were like, Moraine is kind of like, we didn't actually kill the Dark One. We killed one of his, we fought one of his strongest lieutenants or whatever she says. Like, I really kind of wish they played with that a bit more in the show. Like have them think they did it, like they won. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's for a trailer, you need it to get people to watch more who haven't read the books.
That's true. Well, but you know what? That clip, that scene could, for the characters, that scene could be, episode 4, episode 5, and for the first 2-3 episodes, they do think that they killed the Dark One. So maybe, yeah. But for us, we know, which is as the viewers, I just kind of wish because I'm also a troll. I just wish they toyed with our emotions a little bit more and made us think, maybe, the viewers that haven't read the books. Yeah. Come on. What is this? You know me. So we have the scene of Ishmael walking up the stairs in what looks like could be another chamber similar to the Eye of the World.
Yeah.
And then the next cut is him reaching out and grabbing a bloody hand that looks like it could be like, you know, like a more delicate featured or feminine hand. So it could be Lanfear. And the theory is that that's Lanfear.
Yeah, I think that's basically what everyone thinks. Like, well, I think Rafe said something about two characters whose names start with like L, and
L,
he
yeah.
put like EL in like, and everyone's like, well, that's Elida and Elaine, but I think L is also Lanfear, just because you phonetically say EL or whatever, like L. And so because he said two of the most important characters, and I know people have given me a hard time about this because I'm so
You're a Lanfear
certain
stan.
about how much Elida is not like a really important character. They're like, she did all these things. And I get it. I get what she did and who she became. I just still have a hard time thinking of her as an important, like, this is an important character for the actual season 2 of the show. Sure, you know, if you want to set up what happens in the tower and you want Elida to do it, then yes, we need Elida in there. But it's like Lanfear to me makes more sense that you bring Elaine Lanfear in. But maybe it's Elaine Lanfear and Elida Verin, and it's all these characters, and maybe we'll be like, oh, they have all of the key. We know Elias is coming in, so I guess that's another EL, right?
Yep.
Elias and Elaine, right? So those could have been the two he was mentioning, but it seems really it would be very strange if Lanfear did not make the cut of the what seemed to be trimmed down numbers of Forsaken.
Yeah.
Well,
and I mean, like
that little clip we got of all the little like this, what were they? The stones,
right?
The statues, yeah.
The statues, yeah. She was there.
She was one of them, right? Like there was like a moon or a star or something.
Yeah,
like
there was
that.
something
Yeah,
like
it was the moon, yeah. The like if that isn't Lanfear, there's not many more it could be, and like you know, honestly, Grondel's awesome, Masana's awesome, O'Gideon's awesome. Like they're like the other female Forsaken are pretty awesome, but like Lanfear is like the bee's knees. Like she's the most powerful person next to Rand. She's like, and she's, you know, like by far, like you said, the smartest, like next to Ishmael too, like as in understanding the Dark One's plan and not really wanting it. But
she's the only one of all of the Forsaken that ever proposed, I'll find more power to take over the Dark One. Yeah. None of the other Forsaken have that kind of like confidence
hubris.
and hubris, right? Yeah. Like the rest are like, I just want immortality, basically, or I just want at least the wheel to be destroyed. But you know, she's thinking beyond them, and so to me, like, I support her in that's an interesting character, not just okay, I'm going to get immortality, but I'm going to basically replace the Dark One, which in many ways is like I'm going to replace the creator too, right? Like I'm going to rule. I'm going to become the creator, if you will, and the Dark One in one. So,
so what do you, Stubble McShave over here, which I don't really approve of this name for obvious reasons.
Oh, you're beyond Stubble.
Fair. Do we think Iganin is going to get cut from the show? What do you think, Kitty? Iganin, to remind everybody, Iganin was the captain who kind of captures Bile-Domin and then comes back later on in Abudar with the girls when they go to the palace with.
I don't know if they're going to give her own
storyline.
I mean, there's even secondary characters. There's hundreds of them.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't met Bile-Domin yet, so like, exactly. Is there a point to have Iganin with no Bile-Domin?
Is that an important enough storyline? And I mean, they're already bringing in the Shanshan, obviously, but I think it's a possibility. I don't think it's going to be. I mean, it might just be a name drop in one episode as potentially a reoccurring star versus an actual storyline of a 14-book series.
Yeah, like
we do not have the timeline for the TV show.
More of like a nod to the book readers, like, oh yes, this character.
Yes, I could see that. It really depends. Like, is he going to come down and bring his ice peppers to trade? I don't think that's going to matter. But later on, it is important, but it's important to the readers. I don't know if it's important completely to the storyline. And I might get a lot of hate, but like I'm coming from the Hollywood side of like this is television versus an amazing, wonderful book series.
Yeah.
Stubble's right that Bale was cast.
Yes, he was.
It's
Okay.
not officially at this point, so we know that he'll have. But does that mean that Egan
We also don't know
Aegion
like
will-
how many episodes is he going to be in? Is it yet again going to be just is it going to be a guest star? Is it going to be a recurring? Is it going to be
like one episode, like kind of a Tom character, maybe even?
And it's wonderful that he is cast.
No.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I can see with that, Dana Lou. Yep.
Everyone kind of seems to think that we're going to get it again, and I don't know. Like I think both sides of that are completely plausible. Like you said, Matt, like they could cut her and give her major plot points to other characters just as easily as they could include her. And like the deciding factor of who do they include and who do they cut is so tough. So
yeah, season 2, there's a lot of characters you have to introduce. I mean, just think about the Shan-Chan,
there's a lot of information they have to teach us too. Like, forget about the characters. Like, they're going to basically teach the entire audience about the One Power in this season 2 because they're going to the White Tower. So,
yeah, this is where all of us wanting longer episodes. It's like,
can we get the extended edition? Thank you.
Yeah, when an episode ended at like 53 minutes last season, I was like, come on.
Yeah, for real.
It'd be like 100 and like whatever, like 64 minutes or something. But like, there's a and maybe there was space to do things in some of the decisions, but like just giving us 7 more minutes would have been
huge.
Yeah, I think so.
I'm
hoping. I think Rafe has said or alluded to there's longer episodes this season, but does longer mean like 55 minutes versus 53?
Yeah.
Or like what does that mean?
He did.
That wouldn't be wrong.
So I'm gonna make Kitty proud in a second here. Watch. So he did allude to that in the interview that we did with Kathy.
Yes.
So if anyone wants to go check that out, you can go check out our Dragon Mount YouTube page. Make sure to give it a like, follow, hit the notification bell. Do the same for the Dusty Wheel, please, if you don't already. I mean, if you haven't already, you must be living under a rock if you're a Wheel Time fan. But we, Kathy, the producer and Magical Unicorn, Kathy and I got to interview Rafe, which was fantastic.
That was fun.
Was it about like 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
It was live. Yeah, it was a ton of fun. So like he hasn't done, I want to say, any live interviews other than like with Amazon, or at least very few.
Was the Jordan Con one that he did like that first?
Oh yeah, when he got in trouble because he didn't tell anybody. He did. Not only did only like maybe a couple of people at Jordan Con know so that he can have the information and join the thing, but he didn't tell Amazon.
Yeah,
exactly. A little bit of trouble.
That was fun. I think he just did, like you said, he's done very few, like that one, yours, and I'm trying to think live. I don't know that he's done anything else.
Still, it was a little. I got a little like, honestly, like I've been doing these for a while now, and like, I found out that I didn't have stage fright or like public speaking fright when someone asked me at JordanCon 2. So for those who have never been to JordanCon, there's usually like a little skit in the opening ceremonies. And at the first JordanCon, my wife and I knew nobody, and we met a bunch of people there. And then the second one, someone who was supposed to be in the skit kind of quit like at the last second, and they were Narg. So they were like, "Hey Tom, can you do Narg for us in this skit?"
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Yeah, sure." And then that's kind of like when I learned I didn't have stage fright. So I haven't really been nervous with anything yet, but going into that interview with him, I was like super like because I was showing clips and I had like images and like I was trying to make sure everything was perfect. So yeah, I had a little stressed before that. But yeah, no, he did say that in that interview, to make a long story long, he did say in that interview that the episodes were going to be a little bit longer. So,
but yet again, that could only be a minute or 2 minutes.
Yeah, really hoping that doesn't.
Right? But like you said, 5 to 7 would be wonderful.
Yeah.
If we go off of like, let's just say using Rings of Power for an example, watch Kitty's going to be proud of me again. Because we just did a rewatch of Rings of Power over on our YouTube channel as well, with Empress Ebony, may she live forever. So I realized that those episodes actually run pretty long. So like where the first episode is like 56 minutes, every other episode has been over 60 minutes. And one of them, I think the last episode is like 67 68 minutes. So like if we go by that, we could be potentially getting somewhere in between 5 and like 11-minute longer episodes.
Yeah, well, to introduce them a number of characters, right? I mean, again, just take the Shanshan, like understand their society, understand what the difference, what's a damane,
They have to
what's a
introduce all of
soldam,
them.
who's High Lord Turak, what's up with the nails and the shaving of the head and the,
the Adam, chaining
exactly.
channelers.
Like that's, and then you just think of all like, I mean, Avienda, the Aiel, yes, you've done some kind of groundwork for the Aiel, but it's actually meeting them
and learning about J-To as a non-reader, like
I mean,
and then
just the structure of Elaine, like the entire royal family, and like how does that go with
Rob? What up?
Yeah, exactly, because we know Elaine's right, so we're gonna have to learn more about their.
Brother Dan, my felt friend.
Obviously, be like White Tower stuff, like you said, probably some training stuff, going on with the One Power. We're likely going to get like someone believes there's a shot of Nynaeve in the trailer that looks like it probably comes from a testing, like testing Terangriel kind of thing. So like just what are those Terangriel, like who are all these, like you got to introduce again Verin, you got to introduce some more Forsaken, you've got to introduce
you can do it in a way without it being just like this is this person, this person. Like it has to be an actual story without like full on just.
You can't just feel like we're going to school.
Yeah, exactly. Exposition is just.
And we'll see. We'll see what they give us. Inevitably, like getting 2 books in 8 episodes that are under an hour. It's gonna, it's gonna be interesting to see how they try to mix it and make it still work.
Things gotta go.
Yeah, there's gonna be changes. Like I can't imagine that it's not like a gird your loins moment again, right? Yeah. Like it's hard to believe. It would be hard to believe that like, oh, you can start where they ended and somehow bring it all back together in a way that is just like only book. It's not going to happen. Like there's
it can't. There's no possible way. I mean, even back to Rings of Power, they at least have a fan base that started with a TV video medium, which, I mean, yes, a lot of us, of course, read Lord of the Rings, but the trilogy, which all was extended edition, what is it? It was like 22 hours or something, and that's only 3 books.
Yeah.
They broke up the Hobbit this big, into 3 full.
The Hobbit's the one that doesn't. Those 3 don't hold up for me. Like all
I agree. I fully agree. I do. But like you cannot bring a book series into a TV show.
No.
Word for word, chapter for chapter.
Absolutely.
Well, and if this makes sense, that it clearly wasn't what they were choosing to do with these first couple books, and knowing they're telling us it's books 2 and 3. There's no we all know all the stuff that happened.
They're not trying to even like hide. Like this is the reality of taking a medium and putting it to another medium. You can find a bridge, but they're still 2 separate things.
It's really interesting how they handle characters like Verin and Lanfear and Elida, if we get Elida, and Elias.
I don't think we're getting Elida.
Yeah,
that's me. I don't think we are.
I would not be shocked if of all the L's we just described, Elida was the one that got dropped.
I mean, Leandrin has already been brought in a lot more.
Yep.
This is my 2 cents. I think Elida and Leandrin potentially might be rolled together.
Yeah.
My 2 cents. No idea if that's real.
It's 100% plausible. I would like. I forgot who said it earlier, but they said how Elida is kind of a non-Dark One antagonist.
Yes.
Like I like that. Like so we have 2 major non-Dark One antagonists in the series. Well, 3 with the Shanshan. The Shanshan, Elida, and the White Cloaks. So those are the 3 kind of non-Dark One antagonists. But the White Cloaks are kind of like the complete non-channeler, complete human, most human type of evil. Bigotry, racism in a sense, with like hating just all channelers, nationalism with and a complete like theocracy and the way they almost have like a religion, and that's just the most human of the evils in the Wheel of Time. But Elida is the perfect example of corruption and power, like power, absolute power corrupting absolutely. So I kind of hope they keep her separate, but
Yeah, I feel like you have to cover the tower breaking. It has to break in season 3, you know. People
Yeah.
have kind of said maybe you could do it at the end of season 2. That's a lot to try to carry
That's a
through.
lot, yeah.
I can see that it's like built up, so we can see maybe, you know, they've kind of laid more groundwork that we believe it when it happens. But I feel like
Yeah.
you get, you know, going back to Two Rivers, you get the tower breaking, you get the Aiel in a grander fashion,
Yeah.
you get more Forsaken, and I think, and then you get like the hunt for like Black Aja in season 3, and it could be a really, really strong season.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see what they try to give us. This, like, they're definitely going to build up the Black Aja, right? They're definitely going to build up the Forsaken. They're definitely going to introduce us to the Aiel and build them up and kind of prep us for season 3. So, yeah, I'm hopeful that from where we got in season 1, I'm hopeful that what they give us is better. It's going to be better than what we got in season 1. That's my hope.
Okay.
They have to teach us less.
That's true. They have
Like we are actually like now we're aware of this world, and like I don't know, with all of that has to happen. All of those other antagonists have already been introduced in season 1. Forsaken, Shantan, White Cloaks, Black Aja.
Yeah, they can
Leda.
build on things. Yeah,
that's my other. I'm like, and then in the books, Leandrin doesn't really. She just kind of peters out.
Yep.
Yeah. For the splitting of the White Tower, I kind of hope, and light spoilers again for book. Well, not light. It's actually
Spoiler alert.
for the 3rd book of the Wheel of Time. So, okay, there. When Suan gets stilled and deposed, you know, everyone kind of assumes she's dead. Because, you know, that's kind of like what they would do. And then she's gone. So, like, you know, Elida kind of just lets everyone assume she's dead. So seeing as Suan and Moiraine's storyline is, in my opinion, much better in the show. I kind of wish they stuck with it. Another plug, Kitty. I'm getting better at this. And I think of you every time I do it. I want you to know that. We just got done reading the New Spring on my other show when I am in my felt persona as Felty Tom. I'm Meat Tom right now, by the way. Over on The Way of the Leaf, that you could find us on YouTube as well. So there was a lot of opportunities in that where, like, if they were to play up the relationship between Moiraine and Suan as a romantic relationship, instead of like the kind of, sorry to say, shitty way Robert Jordan depicted the pillow friends or lesbian relationships, where it's like kind of just like a relationship of circumstance that they kind of just shed as soon as they left the White Tower, which was kind of shitty. But if they actually played it up and made them in a relationship, there were so many opportunities to use that in the New Spring, where it's like, you know, they're getting fitted for dresses and they're, you know, getting undressed. You know, Suan could be like, you know, like, when, or Moiraine, when they're in her head, in her perspective, that, you know, she could be looking at Suan in a romantic way and be like, oh, you know, being distracted or something. And then there's the later scene. Oh, go ahead.
Do you think that do you think season 2 is going to take us into the history of that relationship, or the history of at least Moraine's history? Do you, I know, because some of us, there was like the sunburst or something like that. There was like over a doorway that someone was walking through, and no one guessed apparently who that person was, and some people suggested maybe it was Moiraine, like younger Moiraine, if you will.
Yeah, I think they are going to, and that's so. What I was getting to is the split of the towers. I think they're going to do it in season 3 as well, and I hope they do it. I hope they play up this, tug on everyone's heartstrings, to play up the relationship between Moiraine and Suan, and like maybe Moiraine is part of the group that's heading back to the tower, or something like that, or she plans on going back to the tower. She thinks that she's going to see Suan at some point after the events of season 2, and then suddenly sometime in season 3 the tower split, Suan is deposed, everyone thinks she's dead. So like,
gotcha.
they play out just like in movies, like when a character comes on screen and like, oh, I love that person, aren't they great? Yeah, they're dead in the next scene, of course. So I hope they do that in the next 2 seasons, where they kind of play up that bit and tug on everyone's heartstrings and make them really invested in this relationship with Maureen and Suan, to then make the entire audience think she's dead when they split the tower. So I hope they play that up.
Well,
We
they
do that
also
one?
pull from Newspring. I mean, the fact that we have a prequel for this
No.
series actually gives. I love you, but you're hot.
I know, shit.
They have stuff that they can pull, like Maureen and Lan. Like, they don't have to make a backstory, is what I'm going with for this show. We've got stuff. I'm hoping they sprinkle in Newspring throughout.
Yeah.
Well, Laura said, yes, she does. They did mention that they go to Kyrian. So, I think she's going to go to Kyrian, but I think that's going to take place in the now of the show.
There's so much that has to happen, you guys. This
know.
series is insane.
Yeah. That's why I'm like, man, season 1 was a challenge, but season 2 I feel like is the bigger of the 2 challenges.
Yeah.
Okay. You can get a lot wrong in season 2.
So I want to. We've been going for just over an hour now, guys, and I got to let Kitty and Matt get back to their days. I'm going to do some light. I keep saying light. I don't know why. My brain is just. I only had one. I only had 32.
Everyone.
I know. Well, I keep. I've only had 32 ounces of coffee, so that's my problem. I'm going to give you some information about some stuff that's coming up, but I want you guys to come up with a couple of questions. I'll start pulling them out as I do this, and we'll see if we can maybe answer either questions or theories, some sort of speculation that you have about season 2, and we'll chat about it just before we get off here. But I want to do some announcements here. So next week, for our Rings of Power rewatch, I will be joined by the amazing Twatcast. So if you haven't already, go and save that in your YouTubes. We'll be doing that Monday at 9 p.m. Eastern.
Nice. And
another announcement that we had was that our next rewatch is going to be The Mandalorian.
Yay!
I'm excited for that.
Right.
I love Star Wars.
Same.
Kitty's back. So that's that. The Mandalorian rewatch, season 1 of The Mandalorian is going to start February 13th. And our first guest is Rory Ross, who is a actor, and he was actually on the Book of Boba Fett as a Tusken Raider, and he is going to appear in The Mandalorian. So
I was in an acting class with him.
Ooh.
Really?
Yes, we did a Zoom acting class during the pandemic together.
That's
really. I was like, I didn't know it was gonna be Rory. I
know that
I
man.
love you, but I might jump in on that.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah, for sure. So just mark off 9 p.m. For Eastern on the 13th. You're more than welcome. You can come whenever you want, Katie. Yeah, it's Monday. Yeah.
That's fun.
It's a little. Was that 6 o'clock for you? Yeah, 6 o'clock for you.
I'm at work, but maybe I can finagle something.
Yeah, you can come. Whatever you got to do. If you got to join later, you got to. Yeah. Oh. And then something that I haven't announced yet, which I have very little prepared for because I forgot to put it out there, but I will post in the chat a link to his information. Next month's live is going to be with maestro, composer, Nikol Kopelkar. So Nikol Kopelkar, for those who don't remember him, was when they first announced the show, he composed like an awesome opening for the Wheel of Time, for like an opening song for the Wheel of Time with like a full orchestra, and it was absolutely fantastic.
It is. He's awesome.
He's a huge fan of the series. I think, Kitty, did you interview him like 2 years ago or a year ago? Maybe it was Kathy or Ebony.
I think it was Kathy or Ebony.
Okay. So someone, it's probably on our YouTube channel from like 2 years ago when we were when I was even worse at doing this stuff, you could tell.
You've gotten so much better. You are so good at this now.
I have gotten better. I wouldn't say good, just better.
You are.
I interviewed him too, by the way.
Oh, you did? Okay, cool.
Yeah,
he's awesome, right? He's a nice guy.
They got Matt.
Yeah, he's a lot of fun. Yeah, he's. I'll throw it in chat if you want to go.
Yeah, throw it in chat. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it was a fun discussion. It was basically about music. Most of the time we covered his, like you said, the thing that he put together. Yeah, he's awesome. So good. That'll be a fun interview. I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, thank you.
He
also just he also just did there's a new big event in League of Legends, which is a game for a MOBA game for those who don't know on the PC. And he did the music for that, all the music for that. So that's pretty cool. So he's got a lot of cool stuff going on in his personal life too. So we're going to talk to him next Saturday, which is the third Saturday of February, which I know the date off the top of my head because, I can count 18. It's February 18th. So mark your calendars, February 18th, 2 p.m. Eastern. We will be doing the same live, but we will be joined by Nickel Kopkar.
Yeah, he's awesome.
I do have one more plug for Dragon Mount.
Do it.
Cooking video pulled from the Wheel of Time is going to be coming out. And it is when Egwene and Perrin are eating that thick vegetable stew in with the traveling people that Illa makes them, which was named in the show as turnip curry, which, by the way, is not real. And that was real fun to test a lot. So that is coming up. I love
curry.
Soon.
I don't know how turnip curry would taste.
I did my best. I have made a lot. So.
All right. Okay. What kind of curry?
It's good. It's good. Turnip.
Well, I mean, like red curry, yellow curry, spicy.
No, so the interesting thing, for these recipes, I actually do think about a lot of things. Like, would they have access to coconut? No.
That's fair.
So there's no coconut milk. This is going to be, it's more like curry spicing, garam masala, turmeric, cumin, things that they could have potentially traded for, things that have been dried that can carry well in small amounts. Turnip, potato, lentils.
A little behind the scenes there. A deep look into how much thought you put into that.
Oh no, we should do it. It's insane. I'm insane. Why do I do this to myself?
Because you love it. Don't
I do, but no one else is going to make these recipes. But you should.
Okay, so let's see what questions. A couple questions from chat that you guys or theories that you did. Will we see Kalendor in season 2?
No.
Althor's Taint asks. So no, you don't think so?
No. Well, I shouldn't say we won't see it. I don't think it'll play a role. I don't think it'll play a big role in season 2.
No.
I could see it playing a big role in season 4, as in I would move something like a big moment of like, if this makes sense, we already know who the Dragon Reborn is. Like the books were kind of playing with it and like, as that was like the moment or something. And I feel like they've kind of were like, we're going to fast forward that. We're going to tell you who it is. This is who it is. And now he's going to have to fulfill some of these prophecies. And I think I could see Kalendor showing up in a later season. Like it's like an important moment that doesn't happen in book 3 of a 14-book series where it gets stabbed back into the ground and it stays there forever. And then some meaningless person goes and picks it up for Rand to fulfill a prophecy. But I mean, that's, I don't think it plays that. So I would be surprised. So my guess, no season 2, other than if you see it like in a dream or something.
Because they did say that they're going to delve into a lot of the story of book 3. So like they said it's like season 2 is going to be book 2 and book 3, but like Rafe said during our interview, like it's the major it's not going to be all of the major plot points of 3. Right. So I agree with you. I think we may see, like, again, some spoilers for book 3. I think we may see the Stone of Tyr and maybe see Kalendor, but I don't think that story is going to happen in season 2. I think that might actually be the beginning of season 3 will be the Fall of the Stone, because like that they can combine book 3 and book 4. If they start this like season 1 or like episode 1 or 2 is the Fall of the Stone, and then by the end of season 3 they're in the Waste, possibly at Viridian. Like that's books 3 and books 4 done.
Yep.
So they could easily cut out a lot of the fluff in there and put those two together.
Or it just might be named just like in passing.
Yeah.
Like no actual plot, like Bella was named, but
just mention the prophecy or something.
They're going to go back to Faldara. It's going to be under another throne. They're gonna dig a throne out, and Kalendor is gonna be hiding.
It's going to be
there.
under another throne, just another.
It's going to be
throne.
like a circle. We're going to come back to Faldar at the end and find out Kalendor was there the entire time.
If we don't
Stubbles
know.
McShave, I hate putting your name back up on screen again because it gives me like a little agita, like someone's gonna like come out and cut my beard. It's just getting back to the length it was before I had to shave it before surgery I had. So you, what is? I'll throw it to everybody. So what's our most anticipated season 2 cold open, and then we're gonna say goodbye to all of you lovely people. So Matt, why don't you go first?
Oh, sure. Whatever cold open relates to Lanfear. That's my most anticipated one.
Nice. I'll go next so that I can save Kitty a minute.
He took my answer.
Oh, of course he did. All right. So Lanfear cold open.
Yeah.
I hope we get a super like I'll take it. Like a super sinister and dark, like freaking creepy because what's his name? Johan? Patton Fane? Johan,
yes.
right? Yeah. He is an amazing actor. And like,
If they open with the whistle.
Like they open with like
Let's open with the whistle.
Yeah, I want to open with the whistle, and then I want like a super sinister, dark, like Patton Fane talking to the dark friend, like the scene where we had Patton Fane talking to the dark friends when they were traveling with the horn, and like the Trollocs are there and the Murdrill there, and like everyone is just terrified of him, including the Trollocs. Like that's what I want.
I want it so close on it that all you see is his mouth, like just from like here down from the side with all dark.
Oh God!
I like that
man.
smile.
Yeah,
yes, he is fantastic.
Dark Friend
His
Social.
face.
The Dark Friend Social would be good.
Yeah.
Oh, the Dark Friend Social. Oh man,
we can agree with that. Dark Friend Social.
All of those. I want all of them
because we're all good people.
Yeah, yeah. That's totally what it is. All right. Well, thank you, Matt.
Kitty gets an option too.
Oh yeah.
Well, that was. I mean, I agree. Like, yes, let's go with the full on with the dark, or interesting, just because. Oh God, I love you. I think it'd be interesting to see potentially because I don't know what they're doing with the Shanshan or the spoiler Empress. Maybe something from their homeland, even just some Torm running, something with like their creatures, the fleet leaving. I don't know. Yeah. I mean, if we're just going to pull at threads, that's where I'll go.
Yeah, I mean, they could easily do like
seeing her get ready in the shadow to like get on a ship.
On the ship, yeah. They could do a little bit of backstory with the Shanshan with that if they just like show like Arthur Hawkwing's son landing in the Shanshan and be like, they just mention that it's Arthur Hawkwing's son, he's landing in the Shanshan, and then they cut back and that's Arthur Hawkwing sent his son across the ocean to conquer the Shanshan. Like that, they've now told the audience that with like a 5-second clip.
Yeah, so there we go. I'll go with Shanshan. I want to see the creatures.
Yeah, man, they do have some awesome stuff over there. The toe raking.
Yep,
oh my God.
Yeah, I'm afraid we're not going to get those.
No, I know.
Don't say that to me. Don't say it.
They're a lot like dragons, as much as Robert Jordan didn't want to call them dragons.
Oh yeah, the Torm are big.
They're wyverns. Okay,
I get it, but it's a lot like a dragon.
It's a dragon.
His son, I just got to get that up. His son, Chad Hawkwing. Yeah, I definitely can see Hawkwing as like a dude bro, and his sons are dude bros. I can definitely see that.
My father.
Like, do you know who my father is?
Yeah.
My dad's going to come here. All right. I love both of you, and I love all of you awesome nerds in chat. Kitty, thanks for waking up with us. Matt, as always, thank you for
it's been a blast.
Coming and lending us a bit of credence over here.
Whatever, you guys are doing fun stuff.
Yeah, no, I'm just the worst. And I'll see everybody Monday, right? Yes, Monday. I'll see everyone on Monday at 9:00 for the penultimate episode of Rings of Power.
I love that word.
Nice.
I do too. Any chance I get to say it, and that's all I got for you. So love y'all. Peace.
Thank you. We're Dragon Mount, by the way.
Oh yeah, we're Dragon Mount. Subscribe, like it, comment.